Hey everyone, Gary Badesha here, coming to you with our very first episode or segment. What is this, Ikum?
Let's call it the first episode.
Our very first episode of How's It Going? This is a platform where we're going to have discussions about current market stats, news, and basically anything and everything real estate related. With me, guys, I have Ikam Sandhu,
The realtor.
the realtor, Ikam Sandhu, the realtor, and me, of course, Gary Badesha. And we thought today we would start our first episode / segment with a recap of what we just went through. 2022 was a remarkable year of ups and downs, literally way up to way down, and in a matter of such rapid speed. It's crazy. When the year started this year, in January, February, things were insane. They were insane, and then it took one announcement for an interest hike, and people like us who are on the front lines, we're in the trenches, we see this difference instantly within our very first weekend when we held an open house. We can tell the traffic was different. It was not as much, and it was a different type of crowd. And I think one of the reasons for that is because people definitely took a step back, starting with investors. So, Ikam, what was that like for you, man? In January, February, we weren't working together at that time, but what was that like for you? I know you're a new agent, and coming into that was freaking crazy.
It was interesting to see, honestly. Like, open house, you do an open house the week before the announcement happens, and then the week later, open house is like cut down to half. Maybe not even. I mean, maybe even more. It was shocking to see. Everybody was talking in the office for sure. Hey, did you notice your open house? Was it slow? I was like, yeah, man, it was slow. Like, this is crazy. Just from one announcement, people took a step back.
Yeah, and my point being was that we saw this, right? We saw this before everybody else did, before it hit the media. And it's almost like, it's not real until it hits the media and it's not on the news. But that happens a little late. And I was telling my buyers at that time, I was telling my sellers at that time that, we were expected to have some changes. And but I think the speed of those was just crazy.
Yeah.
I remember February, I did an open house, and I had somebody helping me because we anticipated it to be a lot of people. How many people? It was crazy. Like there was parking issues. The street was blocked. We had neighbors coming in and complaining because there was just so many people, and they're just they're lingering around. It's like a bunch of ants around around a donut or something, because the home itself is being looked at, and then people are walking around the backyard and the sides, and it's uncomfortable for a neighbor, of course, and the amount of people that come and show up and that were looking at the opens was insane.
Yeah, man. Like, you had how many people come to that open house?
I don't even remember. I think it was over the course of 2 or 3 days, we had 130 to 150 showings. I don't really remember the exact number, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was like 50, 60 people a day.
So 130 people to 140 for the 2 to 3 days. Like, was that overwhelming? Probably.
Oh, it was so overwhelming. It was overwhelming for me, and I had a newer agent that was helping out, and she was losing her shit because I had her outside first, just kind of making sure everybody's doing the sign-ins and things like that. But it got to a point where there was just so many people around. Me and her are just like bumping into each other, going up and
Yeah.
down the stairs. I'm with one or two families. She's with a couple. And, you know, at the same time, COVID was still a thing, right?
Yeah.
So we had to keep the family separate. So if, you know, one family's downstairs, we're taking one up and she's handling one, I'm handling the other. But it was a little bit overwhelming where we did have overlap happening. And of course, you know,
Yeah.
that's not really to what the guidelines were at that time.
Yeah. You know what? With that many people, it's hard to control, right? It's hard to manage people. It is.
It is.
I've managed in my past
Yeah,
jobs. It's the worst thing to do.
definitely.
Difficult.
Yeah. So great learning curve for you, I guess,
Yeah.
coming in, seeing that. And it's funny because I came into a very similar market to the one that we just came out of, not maybe as you know, extravagant as this was, but it was definitely a hot market. And I'm talking about 2015. That's when I was first licensed. And it was similar in the sense that prices were going up rapidly.
Yeah.
Homes were you know, listed on the market for a couple of weeks, sometimes just a weekend. And so, you know, I had experience this time going into this, and just like then, it was that to this. And at that time, you know, now it's interest rates. But at that time, it was the foreign buyer's tax that had just kicked in.
Yeah. 2015.
No, it kicked in 17, I
17.
believe.
Okay.
So the end of this hype. And it was a little late.
Yeah.
You know, they
So-
they introduced that ban towards the end of the hype.
So same thing that they just did right now.
Same same thing they did. But yeah, it was at the end of the cycle, but it was enough to halt things and just put a stop to all the craziness, and things took quite a shift.
Yeah.
I remember being licensed in that year, 15, 16, and thinking that, holy, I'm going to be a millionaire, right? I was selling houses left, right, and center, and it was cool, but that didn't happen. So we went from that to a quick dry spell,
Yeah.
which is what we just went through now.
Yeah.
Right? We were crazy busy selling everything, buying everything, and then boom.
History seems to just repeat itself over and over again.
It does.
And we know that prices will just keep going up. There'll be a stable market, and then the market will go on fire again, and then back to stable, and then again fire, and then on and on and on.
Yeah, and while it's you know, doing this, it's essentially driving up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the best investment in the world,
Yeah.
real
100%.
estate. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Unless you have some sort of genie telling you otherwise.
No, not yet. Or if you have the time machine, that'll take you back to 2019. Joke, you need to have seen our video to know what that was about.
They're
And-
pretty interesting videos. You guys should check them out, definitely.
So, you know, we went from this craziness to a little bit of a calm, and then almost a halt. We seen the market shift dramatically from January to December. What now? What's next? What are your predictions? You know, and that's all they are. You don't know, I don't know, they don't know.
No.
Their predictions. So what's yours?
Mine is if they keep interest rates where they are, I feel like people will start buying very soon. That's, I think, springtime. Spring, April time, I think people will start buying again.
Yes. If, right? That's a huge
if.
That's a huge if. And we don't need to see interest rates kicking back. We don't need to see them rolling downwards
no.
yet. And that's not going to happen. That's not the expectation. we just need them to say, that's it.
That's it.
We're done with this. We're not raising interest rates now. And I think that's enough to get these buyers back out, because the buyers are still there. They never disappeared, right? They never went anywhere. They took a step back because everybody wanted to watch and see what happens, because that can result in prices dropping,
Exactly.
which it did. So with these people now, with these buyers, I should say, they're still out there. They're looking, right? They're hunting. They're trying to find that deal, and they're finding them.
Yep.
We've seen it, and we still have a significant amount of sales. It's what's selling and what's not. If you look and a home is priced right, there's still multiple offer situations,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
If we had that a few weeks ago. If it's priced right, if it's marketed right, it'll sell, right? There are buyers out there, and there are sales happening. Quit thinking that everything has come to a complete stop. It hasn't. Things have slowed down, and it feels like a bigger slowdown because of what we just came through, right? We went from jet fast to really, really slow. So when you make that comparison, it seems really dramatic.
Yeah.
But if we compare back to 19, 18, it's different. It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. The last time it was slow, which I was actually looking at the stats. The last time the market was this slow, but at that time the market was gradually going up. It was March 2020.
March 2020.
Yeah, it was this slow. But in February, you could see the stats of sales going up and up and up. And yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, so kind of like what we were just talking about. We felt this. We felt it happening because
Yeah.
we're out there and we know. And at that time, it wasn't being reported as much, and a lot of people lost out and ended up paying a lot more later down the line when things were just crazy.
Yeah, people were losing 400,000, 500,000, of their equity, which they're in the hole for after January and February, completing in May or June.
Correct. Yep. I was in a situation where we had purchased, for my clients, we had purchased their home with a 3-month closing. Well, 3 months in that market was significant enough that the appraisal was not coming in what we needed to come in at. So my buyer had to fork out of their pocket more down payment to make this deal close. And that's tough to do. Last minute, that's tough to do.
Yeah, you gotta ask for your family. Hey man, can you loan me this much money? Or what people were doing, they were backing out of their deposits and just saying, "Hey, I'm not gonna do this," which could screw you over because the other person can sue.
Yeah. And
Right.
we're seeing that,
Yeah,
and we're going to see that.
yeah,
And the repercussions of it are still yet to come, because all these cases will be going to court eventually,
yes,
and people will be fighting for deposits that are either held in trust or given directly to the seller in some cases. But nonetheless, prices have changed, so financing strategies have changed. And if you're not able to do it, well, there's really no other choice there. But we need to remember that it doesn't end there, right? You don't get to walk away from a deposit.
no,
Not that simple.
yeah,
So we're gonna have a messy year in the courts for lots of people trying to get what they believe is rightfully theirs, and that's the deposits.
So another stat that I was looking at is we're in the same price point in the Fraser Valley. We're in the same price point that we were back in fall 2021.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And some people still think that they're in the price point back in last year summer.
Yeah,
They
a
haven't.
lot of our sellers, right?
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to swallow. That you missed it.
Yeah.
You missed it,
Yeah.
and everybody has regrets, right?
Yeah.
Look how many things go past us. Look how many deals go past us. So it is what it is, right? You need to look past that. But if you are in that situation right now where you're fighting to make a deal happen, or you're walking away from a deal, please know that that's not the end of it.
It's very unfortunate because the prices went down very fast and nobody saw it going down that fast, and people were just playing the catch up game to the price point that where it was at.
Yeah. So back to your predictions
Yeah.
this year.
This year,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. October, people will start purchasing more. I encouraged people to do it right now because
When there's deals out there.
when there's deals out there, yeah. Or you have to get your trusted real estate agent to look for those deals, get them to negotiate, because they're the people who are doing all the work for you at that time, right? Well, for the whole time.
Yeah. Knowing when to buy is a tough thing to know. So don't expect to know that that's going to happen, that hey, one day I'm going to say that this is the right time. That almost never happens. You got to start taking baby steps to making that happen. And for those people that were sitting back for a while and saying they want to wait till deals happen, well, they're out there. Give me a call if you need any help on that search. Give ICM a call.
Don't let the opportunity go away, because once it goes away, it's not going to come back.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us in this very first segment / episode of ours. How's it going? Stay tuned. Way more to come.